let's get on some horror topics here. Let's get the comments in the section going and people that are watching right now.
Yeah.
What horror movies was like a turning point for you as a kid? What was it that freaked you out the most as a kid? So I'll start off with me. I'm not going to lie to you. Freddy Krueger was like one of my biggest fears as a kid growing up. I remember having a friend of mine who's like, I was getting babysat. I was really young, and I think that someone like in the room that was living there had like a Freddy Krueger poster in the room, and I wouldn't go in the room. Like it scared the hell out of me.
Creepy shit.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger back in I don't know what it was. I was young. I just didn't like the fact there was a guy that was going to get me in my dreams because I love to sleep, man. You know?
And now you're thinking about that.
And now I don't want to go to sleep. Are you kidding me? Do you see these bags under my eyes? I actually haven't gone to sleep in almost like 32
Since you were
years.
7? Yeah. You watched Freddy Krueger? Dude, I feel bad.
It's crazy. It is crazy, guys.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Okay.
Jesus,
3,
Lord
4.
Christ.
What's going on here?
Dude, you're
freaking me out, man.
That is, that'll get you. That'll get you. Good shot.
No, but hey, so let's talk. Like I said, some horror films. So we've got people saying they're excited about the brackets, so that's awesome. We got
Sarah Saffold, the social worker, saying she's going to win.
Starting it off, we got Pet Cemetery.
Tell you.
Come on.
Jordan Smith says Halloween's. Good call on that. Yeah. Carl says Chucky.
Yeah, sure.
We have Jordan also saying Mike Myers. Appreciate that as well.
I really liked him in Austin Powers, though. It wasn't that scary.
Oh, get out of Dodge. Now, what about like Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Another one, dude. Hell yeah.
The more up-to-date one, with the dude that was
Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel, yes.
Yeah.
That was a really creepy one.
That was bad.
Yeah,
but
they
also,
did a good job
just
of
like
that.
the normal slasher film, they kept running into the car that wouldn't start. And, like, what's going to happen? Come on.
I love this one here, The Leprechaun.
Ooh,
that was a classic.
Jennifer Aniston
got a start on that.
Yeah.
And then all the corresponding sequels to it.
There
2,
was like
3,
5
4,
or 6.
Leprechaun in the Hood.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Johnny Depp in like one of the first Friday the 13th?
Was in Friday. Kevin Bacon was in
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, he got killed through the mattress.
Yeah.
Like, up in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
was
first
Kevin Bacon.
That was Kevin Bacon.
Blood was like spurting out of his chest in the room and stuff. Filling up.
That was Johnny Depp. So
that was Johnny Depp.
He got killed on Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
Kevin Bacon's first was Friday the 13th.
That's right.
Which like
Nightmare on Elm Street is who's the villain?
It's Freddy Krueger.
And then the other one was
Jason Voorhees.
Friday
Jason.
the 13th is Jason
Jason
Voorhees.
is Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy.
Yes.
And Michael Myers is Halloween.
And also Austin Powers.
And Austin Powers.
And then Austin Powers for sure.
Yeah.
It's not. Some of these things just weren't scary to me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They were just so disgusting. It's like it's so gross. I just can't watch it.
I mean, some of the kills in some of the Friday the 13th, like the sleeping bag one, where he just wrapped her up and then he like slammed her against the tree.
Oh, dude, just insane. Yeah, insane.
I mean, they were just.
It's not even scary.
They were
it's just like
for new ways to
just shock you
to do it. Yeah, pretty much.
Some other shout outs that we have right now. We have The Ring from Jordan Smith.
That's creepy.
We also have Kevin says Tales from the Crypt was good. That was just kind of like just weird, like horror kind of shorts. Yeah. That was pretty good. We have Kathy Tier says Lon Chaney, the werewolf or the werewolf, The Exorcist. Those are some good ones as well too. Paranormal Activity.
When they walk downstairs backwards.
Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activities freak me out. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Even like it was when we were younger, but like Blair Witch Project.
Blair Witch Project. I mean,
the fact they made it for so many years seemed like this was a real documentary that happened, and everyone's like, "Whoa, is this real? Is it not?"
No, it had some good following to
moments.
it.
It was a cult classic, and then you realize it wasn't real, and it's like, just a normal, unreal.
Pet Cemetery was scary when I was a kid.
Me out,
yeah,
Cemetery and it was. I mean, Tim Curry was so good.
He was.
It was good.
He was.
A show that always freaked me out when I was a kid was Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt.
Just watching the show, like the things they would do to people, scarred me. My parents usually hated when I was in the room and that was on. So,
yeah.
Shout out, Paul.
Yeah. Carl says Twilight Zone creeped him out as a kid too. The opening music. Yeah. It was definitely strange, man. The Alfred Hitchcock stuff was really cool too, like the birds and Psycho. I think was one of those that he did as well. And those were some like old, like black and white kind of ones.
It wasn't even like a slasher or like a bloody gory film, but it was just the creepiness of it.
If you think about
more than the slashing,
the original Halloween, there's almost no blood, but John Carpenter built it up for it to happen. So he didn't need the gore and the stuff like that.
It was coming
it
eventually.
later went.
Right.
He was able to scare you with atmosphere, sound, and things like that, which was really cool.
Yeah.
For how good he made that first Halloween.
No doubt. No
Very
doubt.
good.
Carl says Event Horizon, and then Sarah says that E.T. was scary to her as a kid. I mean,
don't watch Terrifier.
God, I love you. She watched it. Sarah
That's kind of scary.
Sarah today did watch Terrifier for probably 40 seconds, and she ran
probably
out of
said like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And
yeah,
left
she's
the
like,
room.
I won't put these things in my mind, and she ran out of the room.
Yeah.
So E.T. did scare Sarah as a kid. I do not doubt that. I love that baby.
I mean, Courtney Houston says Unsolved Mysteries.
I put that on for us.
The
Me and the
UFO,
kids,
man.
they don't like it.
The UFO things, man.
Only because you're
It's
done with the story and you just don't know. It's just an unsolved mystery.
exactly
It
what
really
the
is.
title is.
It's just
Maybe you
an
can help
unsolved
solve a mystery.
Robert Stack. And then the only way you'd solve it is by falling asleep and having a creepy dream about that unsolved mystery. And then
unsolved mystery.
Heyo.
Heyo.
Jeez.
Man, I'm not gonna think that like really unsolved mystery is that bad. But Event Horizon, that was actually a pretty creepy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not
A lot
gonna
of
lie.
creepy movies.
We watched Seven the other night. That was pretty creepy.
Oh my
and well
God.
done.
Seven's good, yeah.
And well done.
Well, that's just deranged because it's more of got like that kind of
Psychological
serial,
thriller type deal.
That's
but
that's a Brad Pitt one.
Brad Pitt
Yes,
and Morgan Freeman.
And then who's the killer?
Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah. Seven.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Yeah, that's messed
That's
up.
a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. So we're about 10 minutes away from calling in our guest for the night and then getting to ask some Q&A with him. So we're just going over for you guys that just joined in. What are some of your favorite horror movies that are out there? Because we're going to be talking to him about his as well, and we wanted to see what kind of people
Nobody's
are
brought up
thinking
The
about.
Shining.
The Shining was good, man.
And
Like,
it was
just
well done.
more of a deranged thing. Jordan
Yeah.
says 13 Ghosts. I remember that movie
that
very
was
well. I
pretty
enjoyed
scary.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it wasn't as scary as it was cool just because
Yeah.
of the concept. Like, you
Right.
wear the glasses and see the ghosts.
See the ghost.
Yeah, there's like kind of a magical house that kind of kept them in there until like it unlocked when the family was there. Really
That was
weird,
pretty
man.
good.
Really cool concept.
I
I've
remember
watched
that.
that over and over though. It doesn't get old.
No.
Yeah, but 13 Ghosts was good. Like I remember like the House on Haunted Hill, Hell
Omen.
House, The Omen.
Kind of forgot about The Omen.
Yeah.
That was pretty messed up.
I mean, I'm pretty hardcore as a horror guy, man. I actually did the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I know.
That's hardcore, bro.
Yeah, and you have to be at least this tall to ride it too.
shit.
So I did really good. You guys would
I
have
want to
proud
do
of
the
me.
bed and breakfast at Lint Mansion where you stay.
Is that right?
Bring them on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. Why wouldn't you
wrong
do
with
that.
that? So
Nothing wrong with
local and
Nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
oh,
right.
wait.
Let's
Is
all
there-
share a bed.
Are there two queens or is there one
No,
king?
just one full size.
we could all fit in
Yeah.
a king. We could all fit in a king. I think.
I think so.
Oh, full size. We could all stuff in a full size.
Courtney Houston says she was scared of Scream, and then Eddie Arrett says Hereditary had him weirded out. Yeah,
That
I've
was
heard
a strange
Hereditary
movie.
was really
Look,
weird.
the suspense in these movies is like some of these movies are so suspenseful. Just at all times you're on the edge of your seat. That's no doubt.
Very creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Literally Terrifier from moment one. I thought at one point. Okay, I'll save it. Actually, once
Yeah,
you think
save that one.
Terrifier's over, there's like an hour and 15 minutes left.
as long as short as the movie is, it feels like it's going for a really long time.
Like I said,
but
it's
not.
it's like the first drop on the scariest roller coaster for an hour, like the drop to hell.
My brother watched The Curse of La Lorna, which I think I watched during the day. I know that's bad that I watched those during the day, but he watched one at night. He goes, man, that was creepy as shit. If anyone's seen that one, that's a pretty freaky one. The Curse of La Lorna.
I don't know if you know about this one, Mark, since you're a horror movie buff, but I heard there's an Asian horror movie called The Roy.
The Roy.
You ever heard of that?
Never heard of The Roy.
Maybe you should look that up.
The Roy.
I don't know about it, and I've only heard about it. But someone mentioned The Roy.
The Roy.
Put that number in there for me real quick. I don't want to say that out loud one more time.
Okay.
You can put that
Do
number
not
in
say
there.
that out loud.
Yeah, because we're about 8 minutes away from giving him a call, so we'll give him the heads up text here in a minute. But yeah, Jeepers Creepers, Sarah brings up. That was
Jeepers
actually
Creepers.
a good one there. That one kind of was creepy whenever I was younger. Just not too young, but just remembering it as being that kind of thing that's like an unbeatable like being or an unbeatable thing. Like it was just super creepy. But yeah, the Jeepers Creeper guys, because it's like, how are we going to kill this guy? You know?
I thought The Thing was really good, too. The original with Kurt Russell, where it's getting into the guys that are there and you don't know until you test them. and then it just comes out of them.
Right.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
The alien stuff, but the thing is
Alien
definitely
stuff was
highly
good.
touted.
Yeah.
The aliens are good too.
Do you remember Critters?
I remember Critters.
Critters
yeah.
from back in the day?
There was like 5 of those too.
I'd even call Gremlins like a horror movie if you're a child, just because that scares kids. But when you grow up, it's
Gremlins to me was kind of
funny,
borderline scary, right?
Funny, scary. It was also hilarious when those Gremlins were getting wasted. I mean, they're going like, party time, Gremlins.
Gremlins.
Maybe not as scary as I thought when I was a kid. Your
Kids
taste
were
change
kinda
as you
cute.
get older.
Well, hey, the big thing that we have been talking about and what we've been doing this entire night was based around having our guest on. So let's go ahead and just get him on. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
David Howard Thornton.
Hello.
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 Mr. Thornton. How are we doing?
It's like the Three Stooges.
You got that right.
Absolutely, man. How are you doing tonight? And thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm good. I'm just having to recover for a second there. My roommate gave me this hot sauce made of scorpion peppers. Oh, God.
Recovering tomorrow
God.
also.
Now, David,
Oh,
That might have a long-lasting effect.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It already did a number on me. I was like, what the hell? I've never had that happen before.
David, I'm not going to lie to you. On one of our podcasts, my buddy Nick here that sits beside me thought it would be a good idea to bring those jelly beans that are like aggressively get hotter and hotter.
my
as you
God.
go
We
through.
did the spicy
Oh, no.
jelly bean challenge.
That was
Yeah.
the worst thing ever.
Oh, no.
We were trying to have some fun with it,
no.
let the people watch and pick which ones we should try to eat out. And then
We tried to have fun, and Kyle decided to go with the spiciest one first. I thought we were going to do a gradual move up to the hottest one. He's like, let's just eat the spiciest one.
Mark, do the ghost
Oh, God,
pepper.
no.
Are you?
right.
We did it. And it
You know,
sucked.
It's not good.
you get something so spicy, you like almost get the hiccups.
Yeah.
That's where I was.
Yeah.
That's
And
where I was.
I guarantee what you ate was way worse than this we ate. So.
Oh boy, I've never. I can usually handle hot sauces and stuff like that, but this is like, it hit me. It like hit my stomach like a brick too. I was like,
I bet.
Instantly. It's uncomfortable.
I bet.
oh
man.
my God! I was like, what?
When it's boiling in your stomach, you know that it's hot. You
Right.
know when you can feel it
Instant,
go all the way
instant
down.
bubble guts.
I was just sitting here and I'm like pissed because I don't really want to talk. I don't feel, and I'm thirsty as hell. And I ended up having to pee like 4 times because I kept drinking water, and it did absolutely nothing for me. But
That's
Oh
hilarious.
no, you got to do
Thanks.
milk.
Milk.
Yeah, milk
Milk.
is what takes it away.
yeah,
Or from Dumb and Dumber, ketchup and mustard.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
Right? Am I right?
this helps.
Yep.
Well, hey, David, let me ask you a question. Do you go by just David, or like you got the whole really cool name? So I say David Howard Thornton and everything
awesome.
I've posted up. But what do you go by?
Oh, just call me David. It's so much easier.
Alrighty, sounds good.
David.
Well, hey, I got a little
I
bit
have
of.
to go by David Howard Thornton because there's another David Thornton that's an actor out there with SAG. He's actually Cyndi Lauper's husband.
Is that right?
Wow.
God,
Yeah.
really?
So you can't get confused
him.
between the two.
Can't get me-
People meet you and
Yeah,
ask
so
you how
like-
Cindy's doing.
Oh, I know. I've actually had that happen before. I've gone into auditions and like
Oh,
you're not. You're not. I'm like, yeah, I am, but I know who you think I was probably going to be.
I can't tell you how Cindy's doing. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah. And that girl just wants to have fun.
Right.
perfect.
Nice. I love it, dude. I love it. So, hey, man. So, David, you're from Huntsville, Alabama. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That
Yes,
is
originally.
awesome. We, I did a little bit of bio on you here, so I'll just run through a little bit of like your repertoire of what you got. Correct me if I'm wrong. You did 5 national tours of Dr. Seuss' How the Grinch Stole Christmas as Grandpa Who.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That is fantastic. Also, the voice of Shizuku and some more people on Invisimals. That the Lost Kingdom. Was that a PlayStation 3 game as well?
Yeah.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
That's incredible. Also, the Joker on a YouTube series
Love
called
the Joker
Nightwing
stuff.
Escalation.
Very good.
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
Very good.
Lots of compliments from the Joker stuff that
man.
my friends have actually heard from you. They say it's got like a Mark Hamill-esque sound to it,
Absolutely.
and that if anyone
Yes.
knows the voice business, that's a huge compliment.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Very
you. Thank
good.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you also have what I was introduced to you as meeting you first in was Art the Clown and the Terrifier, which you've got a huge following on this now, kind of a cult following for that movie.
I
as
mean,
well, too.
horror icon, borderline coming.
It's weird.
I mean, it's
It's
there.
weird.
Dude.
I mean, how are you soaking this in? Because I'm not going to lie to you. My buddy Nick, that's sitting here next to me, we may have ruined him.
David, David. Honestly, it's just good to hear your voice because I had to really like just make sure you were real and you weren't Art the Clown.
You weren't hiding out somewhere around the corner.
Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I was very scary about 20 minutes ago. So.
Oh shit, we got you at the right time, then.
Yeah. I was like
because
one
of
of
the
the
hot
Blair
sauce.
Exorcists.
You're like the bathroom scene, the beginning bathroom scene with the poop and the blood.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
My god.
Oh
my god,
dude! Kudos to. I mean, you're amazing.
Hey, one more thing here too. I want to make sure that this gets out there as well. In 2017, it was Voice Arts Award nomination for your performance on a scripted podcast Western as Powder Burns. Is that correct?
Yeah, Powder Burns. Yeah, it's about a blind sheriff in the West, and John Wesley Shipp plays the blind sheriff.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is
Oh,
cool.
wow.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
So congratulations on that as well, man.
Shout out, dude.
Yeah, that was kind of cool because we got to record together. So it's like I got to play the villain off the Flash one episode. So I was like, this is amazing.
That's cool, man.
That's
So
super
cool.
awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, let me start off the questions here, man. I really got to ask, like, to start off as a young age, who was an inspiration to you while growing up career-wise? Like, you know, you do a lot of stuff with your voice. You've obviously dabbled in the horror industry now.
Yeah.
So what was it that, like, what did you want to start off as?
I always did comedy. So I've always loved like really good comedians. So I was a huge fan of like Jim Carrey and
That's
Robin Williams,
right.
especially.
There we go.
Yes.
And Rowan Atkinson. I just thought those three guys were just amazing.
Mr. Bean, dude,
Mr.
come
Bean.
on.
Yeah, Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Now, I did watch an
Yeah.
interview as well, too, and you actually said that, like, Art the Clown himself is kind of like a little Mr. Beanish because he
His
he
dances
he
actually
doesn't talk,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he minds
his
a lot.
mime and his little dances a little bit too, like his Mr. Bean little dances.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm putting that together now.
So we've done our research over here,
Yeah.
David.
You've
We
done
really
good.
have. We worked
Oh,
on
you've
it,
done
man.
well. That's better grammar.
Well, beautiful. Thank you.
We've done-
Thank you for correcting that.
But career-wise, I got to tell you,
have
man, Mark over here was laughing at me because when you said Jim Carrey, I go, you know, from somebody that is probably using their voice a lot, Jim Carrey's got to be somebody that was looked up to. So I think
Right.
I hit it right on the head with that.
Yeah,
as far
that's
as
what
that
I could
goes.
see you as a comedy guy.
dude.
I could see you actually doing like being a Jim Carrey type guy. Like
Oh,
that
I
you would
would
normally
love
want to
to.
do. Yeah, absolutely.
I would love them to do like a remake of The Mask and do it like the old Dark Horse comics.
Oh,
And I
Oh
would
my
love,
God.
That would be
love to play Stanley in that.
Oh,
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
You
That
might
would
have
be
some
cool.
pull in this
That would be
industry.
a
Maybe
dream role.
we should bring this to life.
No
David.
kidding. I agree.
Yeah.
That is really neat, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful thought.
Were you ever interested? Like, I'm not going to lie to you myself. I had an interest at a younger age as well. I'm a huge Saturday Night Live fan. I love
Yeah.
sketch comedy.
Yeah.
Any type of sketch comedy with Dave Chappelle's show, even like for a small time, Nick Schwartzen's Pretend Time was out there. I just love sketch comedy. I think it's really creative, really
yeah.
funny, and I always had this passion. I always wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. I always wanted to be a cast
Yeah.
member.
It
there.
looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
So
Well,
we're-
I got really close about 8 years ago or so. They were trying to reboot In Living Color.
okay.
oh
wow.
God,
And-
why would they stop that?
I know.
That would have been perfect.
And it was like one of the casting people over there, I think one of the higher ups, saw one of my YouTube videos where I did all my impersonations and stuff like that. And They contacted me. They're like, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing comedy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." It's like,
Hell
well,
yeah.
we just showed this to Marlon, and he loves it. He's like he would love to see like some characters you can come up with. So I sent them a whole reel of a bunch of characters I just came up with off the top of my head, and they're like, "We love it. Marlon loves it," and then nothing ever happened. It all fell through.
Oh,
So it was a full. It
I
was,
was
a
like-
full. It was a full. In Living Color reboot. Marlon Wayans, like the whole Wayans family, everything. It was going to
Yeah.
come back. Damn.
Yeah, they wanted to
cool.
bring it back, and I was like, "Come on!"
That's a
Because they
bummer.
were talking like, "We see you as like the new Jim Carrey type of character on here." I'm
That's
like, "Oh my
exactly-
god, I would
yeah.
love that!"
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
that's exactly what we saw.
Oh my God.
yeah.
That'd be like amazing.
I can see it, man. You've got a lot of energy, man. And to tell you
Thank
the truth, from a lot of the interviews that we've seen you do, you seem like a really just humble and down to earth dude. So,
Yeah.
you know, for somebody
so
that's
much
that's,
different than your character that creeped me the hell out. I'm so glad
I
to
have
hear.
my moments,
I'm so
though.
glad to hear your voice.
So I have actually a friend of mine that this is one of the questions that he also watched the movie before he even knew that we were doing this interview with you. And he wanted me to ask you, he says, what kind of direction did you receive to bring the character to life without words, obviously, with you saying nothing? Was there any inspiration from any past horror villains that you used to kind of create that character, Art the Clown?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, of course, the original Art the Clown, Mike Gianelli, who originated the role in All Hallows Eve, he set a really good, solid foundation for me to build my house of art off of, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
My art house. But other than that, I pulled from a lot of, because I kind of look at art as basically being like the ultimate fanboy for slashers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he's got little bits of every single slasher icon that came before him in his personality. Everybody.
Absolutely.
There's a little bit of everybody in him, and I think that's what really makes him really interesting. He's a huge love letter to slashers.
Oh my god,
He really
100%. That's what brought this to life.
It brought me back to
oh my god
80s nostalgia, and I'm just like, man. I remember I found it one morning before I went to work on Netflix, and I go, what the hell is that, man? And I turned it on, watched the whole thing, and I'm like, I felt so taken away by it. I bought it right away. It brought me back to all the old school slashers, what I really love, and you did a fantastic job.
Yeah, you really did.
And you brought scary back to the slasher. And I thought it was great
and real. And that's the one thing
I thought it was fantastic.
The one thing I noticed about it was just how the real scenes were in color, but then always the Art the Clown scene is just it's like a black and white character. It's like dead. It's just a dead character from the beginning.
Yeah,
it's friggin' beautiful, dude.
Now I gotta ask
Damien
too.
freaked me out.
I gotta ask too, David.
Damien's a brilliant guy.
Yeah,
good job.
I said Damien's just brilliant.
Oh my god.
He is interesting stuff that I've seen coming from him, and we're gonna talk too because apparently you guys either are done shooting the sequel. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Almost.
So
we were.
COVID probably got into the way of that.
Sure.
Yeah. Stupid thing is just like I think I had maybe like 4 or 5 more days left on set, and then we had the order come down from the governor, lock down the state and everything like that. Right. But the good thing was literally the day after we finished this big, huge, crazy scene that took a week to film, tons of stunts, all these like special effects and stuff like that we have going on in it. We were so worried about filming this scene because it was so complex. And we got all that filmed right before we had to go on break. So it's like, oh, yay, we got it done. Good, and I've already seen most of it edited already. And it's amazing. It's like 10 minutes of craziness.
That's awesome.
I can't wait.
From watching the first one, I can only imagine what craziness is going to be in the second one.
I mean, if you can think there's a way to top the first one, I don't know how, but it's
literally how can you do that? How can you top that?
We'll find out.
Holy
find
shit.
out.
Yeah, that was something we thought of too. We're like, oh shit, did we set the bar too high for us?
It was really high. I mean, there's people stopping me at work like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay watching this movie? I'm like, I bought that movie, dude. I'm way off. But it was so good. Well done.
For the record, it's the second movie Mark showed me in the last 2 weeks that had someone split down the middle with some kind of type of sauce.
I showed him a little bone tomahawk just to warm him up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had to get fluffed with bone tomahawk before I went into Terrifier.
Get you slowly started,
That's funny.
Oh shit.
So,
man.
David, it looked like originally you guys were shooting for an October release date of 2020. Do you think that's going to get pushed back because of obviously all the stuff that's going on?
I honestly think it probably will because I'm like we've got to finish filming everything, we got to edit everything, and then we got to get it out to distribution. We don't know who's doing all that yet, so we got to get all of that stuff figured out first. So I mean that takes a few months to set all that stuff up. So yeah, I'm probably. I mean, as much as we would love to get it out around Halloween because it takes place on Halloween. I'm thinking realistically, it's not going to come out till early next year.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's everybody right now. Everybody in
Christmas
this
Day
industry is
would be
doing that.
nice.
Yeah.
Really?
Across the industry,
that would be great.
That would be great.
We've been. Oh God, could
Christmas
you imagine
Day,
Terrifier 2 on Christmas?
I'm okay.
Oh my God,
that would be.
If you really want to get people, that's the day to do it.
Holiday cheer.
Holy.
That right, no doubt. So let me.
Oh,
that's the tagline.
Dude.
Yeah,
There we go. Release. Christmas release. Thank you.
Hey, let me ask you this, David. For someone who uses their voice for as much success as you have yourself, was it hard for you to go into a non-speaking role for you, or how did you have to take to that?
That's your best thing.
Had to be.
Right?
That was the hardest thing for me because that's always been the crutch I've relied on as an actor is my voice. I usually that's how I create every character I play. I discover the voice first, and everything falls into place after that. And this time I didn't have that. So I was like, oh, God. But I'm like, I have a long history with doing physical comedy, and, especially my love for, like, Jim Carrey and, like, Mr. Bean. Yeah. So I grew up doing that. I did a lot of children's theater growing up. So, kids are more into the physical comedy than the verbal comedy. And so I've been perfecting that. And then when I did Grinch, I was lucky enough to understudy Stephen Carl, who played Robbie Rotten on Lazy Town. Yeah. Okay. Who was a master at physical comedy. He actually, I think he literally studied clowning in college in Iceland.
Okay.
So he was amazing. And so he helped fine tune everything I did. And a lot of what I do in the film, if you're familiar with Robbie Rotten, you can probably see a lot of Robbie Rotten art.
Let's see.
Robbie Rotten.
Robbie
is what you just
Robbie
said.
Rotten. It's a children's show called Lazy Town.
Okay.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. He plays the bad guy on there.
I'm already interested.
Oh, he's the best part of the show by far. It's just like he was amazing. He unfortunately passed away 2 years ago from cancer.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
That was like a knife through the heart when that happened. I was like, oh my God.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, someone iconic like that to you, or someone you look up to going like that, it's never an easy thing for sure.
No.
Nope.
Well, hey, let me ask you this. So I was watching an interview with you earlier today, and you actually told a very interesting story. Well, you were on the set, I believe, of the Terrifier. You guys were in between, and just to fill people in as well, too, you said it was like an abandoned building that you guys got to shoot that movie in, correct?
Yeah, I think this place is actually probably used like as a legal chop shop. I would not be
Dude, it has to be.
We were filming in the worst part of Trenton, New Jersey.
Oh my God, dude!
Well, I'll tell you what. With looking like you did, I'm sure no one was ready to come over.
Yeah, no one's
it was funny when we were doing exterior shots. People would drive by, and you would see them keep driving by, and they're like, they're eventually like, "What's this?"
We'll never revisit this moment again in our lives.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So
you just see people drive by and just speed up and zoom.
Get out of here quick.
Let's get the hell out of here.
That's
but you mentioned in one of your interviews that there was a moment where I think you were in between scenes and you kind of like wandered over to a window, kind of looking out because you heard or overheard these two girls getting into an argument. Tell us the story, because I was telling Mark about this.
I didn't even know the story.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, this was the whole night that we did the shooting scene with Jenna's death and all that kind of stuff.
Boy.
So it was just spoiler alert. But
I remember that.
So they're filming her shots where all the practical effects where she's getting shot in the face and everything like that. So I'm just waiting to go on myself, and we hadn't done any of the gun stuff yet either. So I'm waiting to go in, and I'm bored, and I'm in full makeup, got blood all over me, all that fun stuff. And I'm one of these people, I forget what I look like at times because I just get so used to wearing it. When you're on set for like 15 hours, you're like, oh, yeah, whatever.
You just think you're
no
you.
Big deal.
It's like, I'm just me.
Oh, yeah.
But, well, shit, I got all this shit on.
No big deal.
So, I'm just bored, and I hear those two women out there having an argument on the street right below my window. So I'm like, I'm bored. I'm going to go watch this argument at 2 o'clock.
A real argument, not part of the movie. Just a real outside argument.
Real argument. Yeah, like Jerry Springer type of argument. Like, I can sleep with him. I told you not to sleep with him.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to go watch this. So I go over there and just watch it, and they're just arguing away. And then, like, one of them just looks up at me, and her eyes just bug out. She's like, they both turn around and see me. And I forgot how I looked, and I just waved at him like, hi.
Oh, my God.
And they go running off.
That would freak the normal person out.
A bloody murderous clown.
It gets better, though.
It gets better.
Hold on a second. It gets better.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shit is right. Because, this building is, like I said, bad part of town. We didn't have any running water, nothing in that building.
Looked like it.
So we had a porta potty outside. It was just, ooh, this is rough. Yay, independent films. But, so about 10, 15 minutes later, like Damien and our producers and everybody come in, and they're kind of giggling like schoolgirls. And I'm like, what's up, guys? They're like, well, we got someone here that wants to meet you. And at this time, our producer was doing a movie with Tom Sizemore, and he had been saying that Tom was possibly going to visit our set one day. So I was like, shit, Tom Sizemore's here. I bet it's Tom Sizemore. I was stoked. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to meet Tom Sizemore.
You expected this was going to be Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
So he's like, holy shit, man, this is the moment, man.
Cool.
I'm going to get to meet him.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're like, well, there's like, because we're filming in this garage, so there's that big, huge roll-up garage door and stuff like that. Like, Dave, just wait over here, and when we tell you to come out, come out. I'm like, okay, guys, cool. So I wait for it, and they're like, Dave, come out. So I roll up the garage door, and I'm coming up, and my butt just puckered.
Listen, why?
It just
Listen,
balloon knot. It's just like, because I look, and there's about 10 to 15 of New Jersey's finest in full-on riot gear.
Oh, shit.
There's just dead silence, and I'm like, oh my God. Okay, how do I diffuse this situation? And so I was just like, put up my hands, and I was like, what's up, guys? And there's still silence, and I'm like, in my head, like, oh shit, I'm going to die. I am
scary.
about to die. This is how I die, and I'm dressed like this. Oh God. And it's just silence. And then they all just start laughing their heads off. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And they're like, yeah, you better be glad you were not the first one to come out here, because we would have shot you on sight looking like that.
I was going to say, look.
And I'm like, I believe you. I was like, thank God I was not using that porta potty when they arrived.
That's the thing, that your producers and all the set people set you up for this. So hopefully they weren't setting you up to get shot by police. You didn't know what they were up. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It was so funny though. Especially this is like 2015, so things are different now considering police state.
You may have got shot today in this day and age.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh Jesus. God.
It was a very unsettling feeling.
Solid.
We have a
very, very unsettling.
We have a fan watching. Nick Everly says that it looks like they terrified the Terrifier. So,
yeah.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Go backstage.
I was wearing my brown pants that day.
Thank God you were already covered in dry blood because there was diarrhea.
Yeah. Oh, man. What was really funny too is like one of those cops, because we're all getting like pictures made with them and stuff like that. And one of them was deathly afraid of clowns, and he would not come anywhere near me. And I'm like, hey, man. Hey, come on. He's like, no, you're probably a nice guy. I can't
even look at you right now.
Dude, you've got a grenade launcher.
Right. He could tase you if he wanted to. Right? Let's be honest.
Oh my God.
I'm ragging on him too because he's so afraid of me.
That's so funny. So would you say that was one of the most interesting or the most interesting thing that happened for you on set of that movie?
Oh yeah. We had a similar experience this time around too.
Oh yeah,
with cops. It seems to be a running theme when like, especially if I'm like outside. People like this last one was like one of these scenes. I was outside and I was having to walk into a building and I'm covered in blood and stuff like that. And it's about 5 o'clock in the morning, so we're racing the sun at this point, and people are on their way to work in New Jersey, and so we're setting up, and so I a few cars go by, and I'm like, hi, how are you doing? Hi. And then okay, action, and I go. So I'm in there, and I'm like sitting there. I can't tell you what we were doing, but
sure.
All of a sudden, a cop car just pulls up outside. I'm like, oh God, no, not again. It's a female cop. She comes in. So I hear there's this clown that's scaring people. He's got covered in blood. It's like, where's this clown? And I'm like, hi, it's me. It's me. I'm sorry. We're filming. She's like, oh, I see why this was called in.
Yeah, right. Well, that just shows you, though, like, you got to be at least happy to know that the actual costume and the makeup that you're wearing is that it sells it that much,
really
that
does.
It gives it that kind of creepy aura. Nick here sitting next to me actually had the question as well, too. Your teeth, every time that you smiled in that, like, were you using like fake teeth? Did they just put blood on your teeth?
No.
Or like what was going on?
Those are fake teeth.
Yeah, I was going to say like.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire time, like the teeth are always showing, and they're always just
so your mouth. I mean,
so
you're probably
looking.
Biting down on a big apparatus here, like something the entire time. Like you're not smiling that whole time. Like you couldn't explain.
Yeah,
that.
Well, what Damien did, he just made a mold of my teeth and basically
poured blood all over
prosthetic. All just like these prosthetics, yeah, that too. But yeah, he made like prosthetics that they lock right into my teeth and everything like that.
Cool.
So
don't you love it? The first
it looks
scene
real.
when he just kind of smiles at her.
Oh,
and it's just like, shit.
When you were in that little that little like pizza place or whatever it was,
and the dumb influencer girl was just wanting to take pictures with you, like,
take a selfie.
We knew.
I gotta say,
I knew she was gonna get split in half down the middle.
I do gotta say that was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Whenever you take the selfie with her after you just like cut her in half.
Oh my god!
And then you go as far as even just booping her on the nose too, because she did the same thing to you. I was like, that's so cool.
Dude.
That was something we added, like, because that wasn't written in the script for me to do. That was like something I came up with. I was just like, Damien, this, comedy always comes full circle. Yeah. So, like, why don't I take a selfie with her and then I can boop her nose too or something like that? And he's like, yeah, if we have time, we'll do it. And we had time that night, so we're like, hey, let's film this real quick. I'm like, sweet.
That's so awesome.
Dude, just when he's driving the little bike around. And
that was so funny too.
In the horn.
That's a real crash too, by the way.
That was a real crash.
You really ran into the steps there.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, that was a real crash. I crashed that thing so many damn times.
I'm not gonna lie, I
look like that guy from Laughing that would just ride the little tricycle and fall over sideways. That would literally happen to me because that floor was so slick in there, and I'm just like, it's
got to be hard to control that thing.
Man, those shoes you were wearing, dude. I mean, come on, let's be serious.
And the shoes, and you're in the whole get up trying to control this mini bike.
You did a good job.
I think that night was the most deliriously giddy night on set for everybody because we had the hardest time getting through that because we were just cracking up so much.
It's so good to hear your actual voice now after watching this movie today, and just know that like it was actually fun on set, and we had a fun time, and this thing because otherwise I would have just thought that you're just a filthy murderer and. I don't even know what to think. God, I don't even know what to think about this. And I think that's the whole point of this movie. And I think you did your job so incredibly well.
Yeah, so David, I had to sell him on the fact that like you were really down to earth, nice guy. Like when he got here, he was like, "Why did you make me watch that?"
I didn't want to come tonight, David. I didn't want
everything.
I didn't want to be here tonight. I wanted to stay home and go to bed and cover my head in sheets.
I will tell you a secret about all this horror guys, like all like Kane Hodder, C.J. Graham, Robert Englund, Bill Moseley, all these guys. They're the nicest
guys.
I'm sure.
Most laid back guys. Kane is hysterical.
Yeah.
Is like he's strong as a freaking ox.
Yeah, he's huge.
But he's so funny.
Yeah.
And then CJ is a huge mountain of a man himself, and he's like the biggest teddy bear you'll meet. Like, I love these guys, but that's what's so funny. It's like we've all played these horrible characters. In these movies, reprehensible people, and every single one of them are just the nicest guys you'll meet.
I've heard Robert Englund's actually stays in touch with all the kids from the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Like he has friendships with them.
Yeah.
So it's just
that was the most surreal thing because my very first convention that Damien and I went to, he's sitting at a table right behind us because this is when we were really shy about meeting these people because we don't feel like we're worthy to be breathing the same air as these people. And he's sitting at the table behind us with several of his co-stars from Nightmare, and he's just sitting there doting on them. Just like, you're just so talented. It's so great seeing you again. I'm so happy. And I was just like, that's Freddy Krueger. Right. And he's like talking to Nancy's mom like this. It's just like
that's so hilarious. That reminds me of the moment I sit in right now talking to you after I watched what I watched today. So I mean, dude, shout out to you, man. Like that unbelievable. You nailed it, bro.
Honestly.
You freaking nailed it. Holy
shit. We have somebody watching here that has a question. Nick actually wants to know, is there any scene that you filmed that did not get added that you wish did?
Oh yeah, basically everything that we filmed really made it into the film. There are two things that really didn't get put in. One for one reason, one for another. One of them was when I'm in the car with Catherine when she turns and sees me.
That's an awesome part, by the way. I love that part.
Yeah.
When you look over.
Didn't expect you.
Yes.
I also did.
That's what we did. Is like she turns and looks at me and she screams, and then I scream back at her. I don't actually scream, but I do a little panic screaming thing, and then I take a needle out and stick it in her neck. but they didn't. The only reason Damien didn't put it in, he kind of regrets not doing it now, is because he didn't want to reveal the needle too early in the film. He wanted to say that for when I did that to Jenna.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that.
Makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah. I remember that part. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me
Good
ask you this, because we've talked about some of these older movies and some of these people that have obviously influenced in horror. What are your favorite horror movies?
Oh boy, I would say my top 5 in no particular order would be original Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Oh yeah.
original Halloween, Exorcist, Omen, and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors.
Dream
The first one
Warriors,
comes in a close second, but Dream Warriors, I think they really figured out
Dream Warriors is awesome.
everything they were doing.
I'm glad it's always the original of all these too, because the original, like the remakes are gorier and crazier, but the originals are just the creepiest. I feel
Nightmare
like,
on Elm
right?
Street
Like,
3 was really good.
There's just
Dream Warriors
something
was
about
good.
the originals. Yeah,
You know.
it's just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That movie, like it's that's one thing people were saying about Terrifier. There's no plot. I'm like, actually, there is a plot. It's about the whole descent of a person going into madness.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what the whole movie's about. Is why this girl went crazy and killed this TV host.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre has no plot at all to it.
No.
It's just these kids come across this house in Texas and shit goes down.
And they're just curious
Exactly.
as to what's going on inside of it.
And they keep running
it's like
to the
any
worst
old
spots.
school horror film. Like, where should we go? Continue to run away or hide in this
Check
corner?
out this
I'm gonna
house
run
in the middle of nowhere.
I'm gonna head in that closet right there.
I doubt
that
there's a
creepiest
guy
house.
with a chainsaw who's coming after me.
Yeah.
Don't you love that though? Damn it.
It's such a good movie.
Even
though.
when
It
it's
is.
when it's expected,
It's
it's
so good.
suspenseful.
It's so good.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Those are the best movies. I
Yeah.
feel like
Well-
you know it's coming. It's like, oh shit, that's still scary.
Right. Well, hey, David, let me ask you
Love
this, because you probably get asked a lot what your 5 favorite horror movies are, but what are your 5 favorite movies that are non-horror related?
Yeah.
It's just in cinema.
Yeah.
What do you like?
Okay, I'll say my number 1, but the other ones are in no particular order.
That's fine.
I would say
Dumb and
Blazing
Dumber.
Saddles.
Blazing
Ooh,
Saddles.
Mel Brooks.
Oh, dude, hell yeah,
Dude,
Yeah, I'm a
I
big
haven't
Mel Brooks
seen
fan,
Blazing
so-
Saddles.
I love that.
Oh my God!
I've been
Oh
giving
my
him
God.
trouble.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know
David,
that
watch
you've seen
Blazing Saddles. It's a movie that could not be made today.
I literally,
oh,
I
yeah,
could
you're
not.
100% right.
It
It
could
would not
Now,
be made today.
I'm off tomorrow.
I'm not going to
Watch
lie
it
to you.
tomorrow.
Mark just about a week ago watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Never
Factory,
seen it.
and then he had never seen Spaceballs. Can you believe that?
But he keeps telling me about Terrifier and
Well, go figure.
and this and
that's-
that.
priorities.
To each their own.
Horror guys. They're
But
out
no,
there
but
somewhere.
Amazing.
Blazing-
It's amazing to hear that Art the Clown's favorite movie number 1
Blazing
is
Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
Whenever-
Dude, I can sleep
Oh, that's
tonight.
actually not my. That's not my
Oh,
number
it's one
1.
of your
though.
top 5.
Okay.
Top
It's
5.
in my top 5.
Okay, I can
So
sleep
Blazing
tonight.
Saddles, Young Frankenstein.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
yes, dude.
That's such a brilliant movie.
Brilliant.
I would say most of these are comedies.
Yeah.
So, Godfather. I love Godfather.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Okay, number 4. Let's see. I think The Jerk. I love
The
The
Jerk?
Jerk.
Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
a good one.
That movie
I
just
haven't seen
cracks
that
me
for a
up.
while either.
Yeah, but my
Beautiful.
favorite movie of all time
There you
ever, ever, is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, that is awesome.
I think that
I
is
loved that when
a
I was a kid.
perfect.
Dude.
That was a great movie.
Oh,
It's
man.
like there's nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely perfect. It's got everything I love in it. It's got a great noir detective story. I love those kind of whodunit.
It was a first of
I-
its kind, though.
Yeah.
You know, using
Yeah,
those
it
that
really
cartoon
was.
characters,
Yeah, the
bringing them
CGI
into that.
Oh, it was so good.
Animation.
Yeah.
It was a
I loved it when I
comedy.
was a kid.
It had sex appeal to it.
Dude,
It was just-
Jessica
it was-
Rabbit. Woo!
Ooh.
Oh my God! I think she ushered a lot of us guys into puberty at a young age.
Dude.
Like, what is this feeling?
So right, bro.
Hey, man, I'm not going to lie to you.
So funny.
It was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's one of my
So
favorite
good,
movies.
sure.
Now a man
Forget
that,
about that movie, too.
You do.
being a man that does a lot of voices, like, can you give me like one of like the, do you remember me, Eddie? I killed your brother, when he starts to get really high pitched like that.
I can't really do Judge Doom as well, but I did.
Just do.
Wait,
Yeah.
Well, Judge Doom was Christopher Lloyd, wasn't it?
Christopher
Yeah.
Lloyd. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was
My
solid.
business is burning.
Eddie. I killed your brother.
I'm 6 years old again. This is
I love it, dude. I know.
Yeah, I
It's
love
so
that
awesome.
movie.
friggin' awesome. You said that might, when you look back on life, like that might be like the movie I've seen the most times in my entire life too. Like just growing up watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Quotable from that too. Bring out the dip. The dip. Bring out the dip.
And every time I watch it, I always see something new in it with the animation. Yeah. Like a lot. Like one thing people don't know is that train that goes by at the end that hits the Dipmobile in Toontown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to freeze frame it, but every single window in that train has a murder scene.
What?
Such a dark movie when it comes down to it. Right?
Everyone it has like a knife up or something, or like people think like they're getting killed.
Yes.
Like a silhouette.
Every single window is a different, all in silhouette, different murder scene.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I'm literally gonna find it, and we're gonna probably watch it after the show tonight and check that out. Now that you say that, that's awesome.
That's why I love that movie so much. There's so much love that was put in. It's like that. The whole phrase. I don't know if you have ever heard it before in film where they call it when you bump the lamp or bump the light.
I haven't heard that. I don't work in the biz, so that's new to me.
Go the extra mile with things because in Hooper, it's the whole speakeasy scene where they're trying to hide from the weasels, and Roger hits the light and starts the light swinging around the room, and they had to animate all the shadows of the light moving so rapidly across the room. They didn't have to do something like that. They didn't have to have him hit.
Make it realistic.
They did it.
Yeah. That's really cool, man.
You don't think about that when you're a kid. I got to rewatch that, no doubt.
That and Blazing Saddles because I haven't seen it.
And that was the first thing that I said to him, David. Whenever he was like, "I've never seen Spaceballs," I was like, "You've never seen Spaceballs?" I was like, "Have you seen Blazing Saddles?" And he's like, "No." And I go, "Have you seen Robin Hood Men in Tights?"
I have.
And then I told him, now tell him the responding text message. I said, "If you would have said no to that third one, I was going to fight you."
Yeah,
you had to have seen that.
But hey, I
have a whole box set of Mel Brooks movies. So
you got to.
There's more obscure ones like Silent Movie and
History of the World.
Chairs. Yeah, History. Oh God,
dude,
I love that one.
Yeah,
like Mel Brooks.
There you go.
Those are classics, man.
Good to be the king.
Oh man, I got to tell you, man, I am a huge fan of Mel Brooks, and I actually go through some people to get like Hollywood memorabilia because we do. I collect that.
Yeah.
And I had a chance of getting a Mel Brooks autographed poster, and I missed out on it. And I regret it because I love.
This is one of my favorite. This is one of my welcome to New York experiences when I first moved here back in 2006. Basically, a month after I moved here, I was at an audition for some production of Fiddler on the Roof. And they, at the same time we were auditioning in the room right next to us, they were doing a read-through of Young Frankenstein, the musical. And so it's like, oh my God. So all these big Broadway legends are in that room and stuff like that. So we're waiting in the hall to go in to be called in for our audition. And they take a break from Young Frankenstein. They're all walking out, like all these big Broadway names like Kristen Chenoweth and Roger Bart and Terrence Mann. Wow. Yeah. This was right before Peter Boyle passed away. So he comes out and you could tell he was kind of on his last legs there too.
Yeah.
But then Mel Brooks comes out. And all these other people just walked by us. We're like, hi. Mel Brooks stopped and came up to every single one of us waiting in line for our audition and shook our hand and wished us, to break a leg on our auditions.
That's awesome.
That's like very cool.
I was class act because I'm like, they were going on lunch break. He didn't have to do that. He didn't know us from Adam's off.
Cool. Instant gratification.
He took that time to acknowledge all of us. And
not everyone does that. Let's be honest. Not everyone does that, right?
No.
I couldn't breathe. I was just like,
awesome.
this is my comedy god. I'm just
Yeah,
oh
I'm a
my
huge
gosh,
fan.
Mel Brooks.
I'm not gonna lie to you. My family alone, it doesn't matter who it is. You can literally point to one blindly and ask them to quote a Robin Hood Men in Tights, and they can give you one. And we can go around the room and probably finish the whole movie. To be completely honest with you.
Blinken! Where's
Blinken?
What are you doing up there? I'm guessing.
Guessing no one's coming.
No one's coming.
That is
it's awesome to hear someone like you in the know to say that too.
I love it.
Let's not forget.
I would love to do a movie like that one day. I would love screwball comedies. I think they're just so much fun, and no one does them anymore. I miss them.
One of my favorite
we need Airplane
quotes.
3, right?
Yeah, right.
Everyone's a little, you
Or
know,
a Naked Gun 44 and a half. I don't know. What are we doing?
44 and a fourth.
44 and a fourth. Let's do it. Let's do it, baby.
One of my favorite Blinken quotes, though, from Robin Hood Men in Tights was when towards the end, whenever he catches the arrow, and they're like, Blinken, how on earth did you do that? And he's like, I heard it from a mile away. And he goes, nice job. And he goes, what? Who's there? Starts walking like really blind, like feeling out for things again. Like, such a cool character.
I think Blinken's the best part of the movie.
He's up there.
Reminds you a lot of like my dad introduced me to like the Monty Python and all that kind of like
love Monty
old
Python.
school like slapstick ass comedies type things like that. Like just damn, it's funny.
They are fun.
Yeah, they are.
I love that type of humor. You can tell that it's just fun to film that kind of stuff too.
It's gotta be.
Yeah,
everyone's having fun.
They
on
had fun
set.
doing it. Yeah. So let me ask you this question, because we got a couple more Terrifier questions for you. Out of the movie itself, what was your favorite kill?
My favorite kill is probably one people don't expect, because everybody would probably think it's the hacksaw kill. But my favorite kill was not that one. That's my second favorite. My favorite kill was the decapitation of the exterminator. For two different reasons.
Yep.
Number one, it's just a really good decapitation. It's really cool. That was fun to do, too. Like pulling back his head like a Pez dispenser and popping it off like that.
And the meat that was hanging out of his neck.
To do that.
What was the meat hanging out of his neck? I don't know. What was that? There was still some.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something
Damien made. It was like
to make you just the extra gore,
just some film meat.
And then he put his foot on his head. And he pulls the knife out.
Oh god!
That was
beautiful.
Oh,
that
it was fun.
Great kill. Great kill by the way.
Number two, why I love that so much is because the actor playing him, Mike Levy, his production company, Fuzzle Lens Film, they have another film called Abnormal Attraction that's out. That's hysterical. You can see it on Amazon Prime. There you go. But I'm going to be filming another film with them later on this year as well called Stream. These are the guys that, I saw the documentary about Wrinkles the Clown. Mm-hmm. And he was claiming he was the guy that started the whole scary clown standing out in public thing. Bullshit. It was these guys.
Really?
These guys. Yeah, Fuzzle and Lens. They are the guys back in about 2013 or 14 where Mike Levy and his brother Jason and Steve DeSala, those three guys, they were the Staten Island clowns. Mike was dressing up as a clown and standing around out in Staten Island,
scaring people.
Scaring people.
Scaring people.
I think it scared the shit out of people so bad that it started to act like as if people started reporting clown sightings all over the United States.
Yes.
It's because of him. It's because of those guys.
That is absolutely crazy.
That's crazy.
And I love it because I get to kill the Staten Island clown in the film.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Steve and Jason are the two cops that come in at the end too.
Oh,
what was that? Was that
the two cops that come in at the end.
What was that again?
Say that name. It's on Amazon Prime. You said, David?
It's called Abnormal Attraction.
Abnormal Attraction.
Yeah, it's about like people that are attracted to mythological creatures.
Dude, who doesn't? It soun's amazing. Let's do this. Let's do this.
It is so funny. Jason plays his character named Finbar in it, who is just this character is so freaking hilarious. And I love these guys so much. We have so much fun on set because they're helping us with Terrifier 2 as well, especially Jason. Jason is hysterical. Jason and I have been saying that we need to do a comedy together because we would have so much fun.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Staten Island. Yeah. What better place to do a comedy than just hilarious Staten Island? Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, they got
nonstop comedy.
They got a lot of people in it, like Tyler Maine's in it.
Look at that.
Jim Hanks, Tom Hanks' brother.
Okay.
There you go.
Malcolm McDowell. Malcolm McDowell. McDonald.
I thought you meant Michael McDonald's brother. I don't know.
No. Malcolm McDowell and Gilbert Gottfried's in it.
My God! What a legend.
Yeah, well, you hear his voice.
Who doesn't? It's the most recognizable voice in cinematic history.
I know.
I feel like.
100%.
What are you talking about here? I don't know.
Yeah. What is going on?
Why is it everybody is always making fun of my voice? What is about it that people don't like about my voice?
Beautiful. Perfect
So
impression.
good.
I thought we were talking to Gil.
That's
McCarthy.
perfect. Hey, and, it's funny, David. I think that you actually talked to what we just talked about on one of the other interviews as well. I'm glad that you brought that up. There was another story that you brought up that I thought was actually kind of funny because I could relate to it, and it gave me a flashback to like my childhood. You talked about playing the handbells whenever you were younger, as a kid. And I literally remember I had to be in the handbell choir in like 4th, 5th grade, and remember you couldn't just hit them; you had to hit them the right way, and then whenever the sound was supposed to stop, you had to rest it on your arm and stuff. But flashback
you
of how
to like hook them all up together. Sometimes like the little bells, and you'd have to you had to do all these fancy tricks with these things.
The cues, you had to make sure you're on the cue.
Right.
Oh, it was crazy. I would have to like sometimes hold like 3 bells in one hand.
That's talent.
Manipulate them the right way to ring them 2 at a time or 1 at a time or all 3 at a time. And
one in each hand.
You got 2 hands doing that too.
Yeah, you can set one down to pick another one up. Just depending on how versatile you were at multitasking.
Yeah.
And you couldn't clang them together because that destroys them very easily.
Yeah. They frowned upon that, didn't they?
No. No clanging.
But what made it worse for me was my godfather was our choir director for this too. So he was harder on me than anybody else.
You had to come to play.
Of course.
Oh yeah. If we clanked our bells, he had a jar in there that we had to put a quarter in for every time we clanked
curse jar.
That's funny.
Only the bell clank jar.
Oh yeah. He was like hardcore about this stuff. We went to competitions and everything.
Hell yeah.
Sounds like a man that bought the handbells himself. Just want to make sure he's protecting his investment. You know,
sounds like it makes Christmas like really tense. Like, you better be on your game with these handbells, buddy.
Oh yeah, it was a serious thing. It was a very, very serious thing.
So
and then there's this one time I got to ring the lowest bell, and there's this like giant mammoth bell. It's like, oh god,
you had a big roll.
I did. I'm like, oh god, if I drop this, I am dead.
That is hilarious. So did that actually, being playing music at a young age and stuff like that, is that what got you that are interested in doing roles such as like the Grinch That Stole Christmas and playing Grandpa Who? Like, because that was a musical, correct?
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. I was a musician before anything else. I was singing a lot as a child, so I come from a family of musicians and stuff like that as well.
Awesome.
So
that's very cool.
It's always been I play piano as well, but not like expertly or anything. I actually haven't played in a while, but
singing
I
mostly.
play just for myself.
That's cool.
Singing mostly.
Plus, I feel like if you're a singer and you can hit all those pitches, that makes you better at being a impressionist also, which might lead to your
range,
beautiful range.
You just got your range.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. That helps.
Yeah, I actually have a 4.5 octave range.
Damn, Google that for all you who don't know what 4.5 octave range means.
Because Nick actually is in a band. It's like kind of a jam band.
I play drums, but I don't. Keys mean nothing to me. So it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. For those don't know what that is that I basically can sing any voice part, especially for men. I can go sing bass all the way to first tenor, even up into alto and soprano if I need to.
That leads us to you've played Joker. Do you have a good Joker laugh?
Yeah, the Joker laugh.
You want to hear Joker, do you?
Oh, Jesus.
That is so
awesome. Listen to your. I just want to hear. Do you want to karaoke sometime?
Dude, that was awesome.
It's so fun. Good. I love doing Joker.
Dude,
always puts a smile on my face.
Damn.
Yes.
I'm re-creeped out.
That is so cool, man. So cool. I love it, man. I watched a video that you had on YouTube as well, too, of you doing, I think you said you were bored during the Grinch tour, and you did like 100 and something impersonations during that.
I watched that, too. That was good.
Just out of boredom?
Some of them
out of boredom.
Mix it up a little bit.
Let me ask you this then. Since you're doing some voices for us right now, you did an impressive, and I have some autographed Ren and Stimpy fixtures. Figurines that have Funko Pops. And I heard you do a Ren that was just incredible.
Stop it.
Ren says, Stimpy, you idiot! And then you got the hey, Ren.
There it is.
I picked for you, Ren. They're for you.
Dude,
Billy West.
Happy joy, son, Ren.
Oh my God,
Billy
that's
West.
unbelievable. Billy West is the originator of that, correct?
How about that?
Billy West is his voice is
Roger Plattling.
Hey, Sonny.
Dude.
Dude.
That's so
Hey,
good.
now another one I heard too from you that I thought was absolutely incredible. You do some Futurama impersonations as well. Zoidberg.
But why do you want me to do the Zoidberg?
That is absolutely
So
incredible.
good.
God knows everyone.
Dude, come on.
So just a couple of them that I have off there. Well, my question that I have off of that is, what are your top 5 that you think are your best impersonations?
One, I would say Bugs Bunny.
Okay.
What's up, Doc? Hey, you stinker.
Number two,
So good.
It's like Mel Blanc.
I know.
Oh, dude, that is
That's
awesome.
unbelievable.
That is good.
I do a lot of those. I see number 2 is my pinky. You're like, hey, God,
That is awesome.
idiot pinky.
That is awesome. That's 2. What else you got?
Unbelievable.
Number 3, I would say my Barney Fife was what I was known for in college. You know, it's like, hey, Andy, you know, you come down to my little town of Mayberry, you break the law, gonna have to nip you in the bud. Yep, nip you in the bud.
That's priceless.
Good old Don
So
Knotts.
good.
Let me
Don Knotts
take a
is
break
great.
in here. So you've been on the East Coast. You got that East Coast swag in all of your, which you also do East Coast type impressions. You got that East Coast swag in your impressions, which just makes every impression work beautifully. Also, like, dude, you,
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's you got 3 of us. What's your 4th and 5th?
Number 4, I would say Krang from Ninja Turtles.
Oh, who doesn't remember Krang
Let's
the
hear
Brain?
Krang.
Shredder, you fool! You let those turtles escape!
Oh my god, I forgot what Krang.
That is incredible. All right, who's your 5th?
Oh my god.
And I would say my last one, I would say Goofy. He was my very, very first voice I ever learned how to do. First grade, it was during story time. This girl I had a crush on in class slipped me a note, and my teacher was reading a Mickey Mouse book at the time. And in this little note, I opened it up and said, will you be my boyfriend, yes or no? And I went, gosh, yep. And it just came out naturally like that.
And that's how you answered her question if you would be her boyfriend or not with the goofy voice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Yep,
Perfect.
I wish I could see her again just so I could say thank you for starting me off.
That is so cool. That is so
That is
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, you're clearly
I
talented.
do a lot of those. I do all Donald, Mickey, all them. Oh boy, I make it up. I hope you heard of me. I hope.
So is this?
Oh,
Does
dude,
anybody
that's-
over here understand what this duck is saying? He's despicable.
I mean,
These are great.
has like
These are
Warner
great.
Brothers like contacted you to continue this because obviously these voices
I
don't
would love it.
hold up because they pass away.
Yeah, would you?
Right.
Would that be something
Yeah.
that would be right up your alley if somebody
yeah,
contacted
it
you and
has to
said,
be.
"Hey"?
That's a dream job for me. I like my
Jesus,
dream. My
dude.
dream role. One of those is to be the voice of Bugs Bunny one day. I would.
Like,
That would
awesome.
any of those characters. I do so many of those. You know.
I would be ecstatic to do it.
Well, dude, well, you're spot on. So I hope someone hears this. That just
That is
you just
literally,
we need you. We need you in the
Yeah.
future of
Yes,
Looney
we
Tunes.
do.
because
I'm blown away, man.
unbelievable.
Hey, David, thank you again for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. I still have some more.
You got me started.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Hello, Mr. Rabbit.
Oh my god.
Hey, let me do
Just
this,
being
and
a
then
kid
you know what?
again.
Let's resurface. Let's come back to some of these impersonations because I'm loving every bit of them. But let me ask you a couple more
Yeah.
questions we got here.
Okay.
Who's your most feared horror villain, and do you think that Art would be able to hold up against him if they had a movie where it was like
Ooh, that's a good
so
question.
and so
Ooh.
versus Art the Clown?
Ooh.
Yeah. I would say it's Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger.
Freddy,
Yeah.
to me, is my favorite horror villain of all time. I think he is the most creative and scariest one out there because all these other ones are in the real world. You can get in the car and drive the fuck away from Jason and Michael Myers.
Right.
Freddy
You
flies
got it.
away.
They're not
You have
moving very
to
quickly.
sleep.
You know what I'm saying?
Freddy's in
No.
your dreams.
You
I'm
have
like,
to sleep.
Freddy's in your
It's like
dreams.
everybody. If you don't sleep, you die.
Right.
So it's like Freddy can always get you in your dreams, and then he's so sadistic but he's also funny at the same time.
Yeah, the humor with him was always so good too.
So then, the question though is, the question at hand though is would Freddy Krueger be able to hold up against Art the Clown?
Can we see an Art v. Freddy?
Yeah, do you
One
think
day?
that's a movie possibly in the future?
I think it would be an even match. I mean, that would be one of those things where it's like, because like I knew a lot about Art that people don't know about him yet. So it's like it's one of those things. It'd be so much like Freddy versus Jason, where they would just keep going at each other.
That was awesome.
And keep going at each other, and just neither one would really win.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I also put as a note here, too, is the next thing I was going to tell you is it's funny that you actually responded with that answer. It reminded me of a Friday the 13th, a Freddy Krueger kind of feeling with what you did with the Art the Clown. So you saying that doesn't surprise me because I felt like I got a little bit of a Freddy feeling from that portrayal that you did. And it was you. It was all you. But, I mean, it's good to see that that's somebody that possibly influenced that role.
The fact that you said that first was...
Yeah,
it makes
apparent.
Sense. It makes complete sense.
Definitely.
That's basically how I, in my mind, created Art. I basically looked at him, and he's like the bastard child of Harpo Marx and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, that's spot on. I mean, it really is. And I think that you've done a really good job articulating at what your character means to you and how you use your thought process to kind of do something different for each and everything that you do. I think it's really impressive, man. Honestly, you can see it with your impersonations as well too.
I love it. So
thank you.
I'll ask you, how do you feel being a horror icon? Honestly, it's got to be one of those things now where there's a cult following to you to where we don't have the biggest. I'd say they're still falling for the cult classics, right?
Sure,
but you're this new age kind of. I'd say what Nick said earlier, that you might have the scariest clown on the block label right now.
Yeah.
I've been reading. I had to watch this and I had to do some research just because it messed me up, man. I watched this. At 9:30 this morning. I had to read some things and
horror people are very particular about how things are done.
You're like,
and I put a picture about you being in the podcast, and I'll tell you, people were just like, dude, so awesome. He's so good.
Awesome.
You should feel so good about how well you did in this movie.
Unbelievable.
Because it's definitely noticed by all horror fans for sure.
I'm not a horror fan, and any other movie I've seen with a creepy clown, you
did a fantastic
blew that out of the water. There's no comparison.
So good.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's been very surreal though. It's just it still hasn't totally dawned on me yet. It's been about 2 years, and still I don't know if it will ever really sink in, because it's just to me, I'm just me. So I'm like, what?
Sure.
No.
Yeah,
and I'm still this little skinny, shy nerd from Alabama. So I'm like, what?
Awesome. Stay humble, buddy. Bitch, you creeped us all out.
You
There's
did a
no doubt
fantastic
about
job.
it.
You definitely made Art the Clown what it is. So.
Yeah, I agree, man. I got to tell you, it's even for myself, to be completely honest with you, saying that horror is not my main genre to go to. Whenever Mark had told me that you were willing to come on and chat with us about the work that you had done, I immediately was all over the Terrifier, and what was the tech? I was like that was for what I had thought going into it. I was amused throughout the entire thing. It was so cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And from someone that doesn't do horror as their number one thing, to have enjoyed it the way it does, it gave me that older feeling of those classic cult horror flicks.
It brought
from the
me
90s.
back, and it made me love it.
That's what we were going for.
Dude,
yeah.
That's what we wanted to do.
You hit the nail on the head, man.
Yep.
Well, what it is Damien.
Right.
Damien is a true dyed-in-the-wool horror fan from early on. I think he was 3 or 4 years old. He started getting into horror films. And so this is something he loves. He's passionate about, and he wrote it, directed it, did all the practical effects. This is his thing. This is his baby, and so the care is there in it, and I think that's why it is as good as it is, because it's something he's passionate about. He loves this genre so much, and he wanted to do something as a love letter to the films he grew up watching.
Right.
And he did.
This was his love letter.
And you delivered.
Spot on.
He needed someone. He had the idea, and you delivered it.
He found you.
So that was. I think it's great both ways.
Oh my God.
Both of you guys.
It worked. It was kismet, really. It was because I had never done film before. And I had come back from my last tour with Grinch, and I decided to take 4 months off and just go off of unemployment from my tour and just focused on auditioning for musical theater tours or trying to get on Broadway. And I was in like final callbacks for 4 different national tours, and they all fell through for one stupid reason or another. It was like one of them literally came down to a coin toss. Like it was trying to decide me and the other person. And I thought at the time it came out bad for me, but realistically it came out well for me.
Worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I had gotten any of those, I would not have either been able to audition for Terrifier or been able to film Terrifier. So I was like, oh, this worked out the way I was supposed to. So,
Sure.
Yeah. No doubt.
Stars aligned.
You don't
man.
want to always say you're made for a role, but man,
dude,
you made it. You owned it.
Now
and
here's
it's
the cool
fantastic.
thing though, and honestly, David, with your attitude and with your charisma, I don't think that this is going to be the what you're known for role. And I say that in a positive way.
Yeah.
I say that in a positive way because honestly, the way that you're doing stuff and the way that you're creative and the way that you put your mind to the things that you're doing, I mean, you're knocking it out of the park with everything that you do, man. And I want to tell you that we appreciate everything that you've put on the table because it's been cool for us to kind of get caught up to date with you and getting to know you without even talking to you first.
Right.
Awesome.
I think that it feels like with the questions we have that we might have talked before this, but you can tell everybody that we didn't even talk until
Like
I
you
just
could have
called
been
you on
just
the
sitting in
show.
the room with us. Yeah.
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 But one thing
Yeah.
that I do want to do though as well too is I want to go around the table real quick and ask everybody, and I have to start off with this as well too.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the movie? Okay. Because my favorite part, I know what it is.
favorite part.
So you're chasing after the poor girl that came to save her sister. She gets between a gate and you get a hold of her hair. Okay,
I know what part.
And then she rips her head away, and you have a little bit of hair.
Kyle.
This is my favorite part.
Cool,
okay,
cool.
Yeah.
And as she looks back in fear at you, you just gaze at her through the fence with like a little bit of her hair, and then pull your hand back and grab a horn and start just honking it at her with this look on your face that is just so awesome. It is literally
It's so good.
so hilarious. I just literally started like laughing during that scene because it was just so creepy and so eerie to me that would be what you're doing. Not trying to get to her again, but just grabbing the horn and just doing like a
Honking
honk,
at
honk, honk.
That was good.
He has fun.
Yeah.
He definitely has fun. He loves to taunt people.
Oh shit.
Nick, what do you got, man?
Oh,
What
yeah.
was your favorite part of the movie? Even though it scarred you for life.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I didn't watch the last 13 minutes.
You got scared.
I had to go to
I had to fill him in.
Here's the thing. I started to watch this at 9:30. I had a couples therapy appointment at 11, so
You were so effed.
it might have worked well. Actually, I needed therapy after what I saw, so I missed the last 13 minutes, which probably were just mind blowing. But
They were good. No, they were good.
Just
Literally mind blowing.
Yeah, literally. Literally. Thank you.
I'm gonna revisit this, and I'm not gonna lie. But my favorite part was probably just the pizza guys turned into jack-o'-lanterns. What can I say?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you.
We did it before Halloween.
Hey, I will say David hit it right on the head. That it was pretty mind-blowing.
Mind blowing.
Mind-blowing.
Literally. Hey-o.
Sound effects are just too good to not do it. But no.
He's got, we got that
one
too,
of those
David,
too,
buddy.
man. I
Don't-
got the.
We got it,
There it
baby.
is.
So yeah, my. Actually, the most memorable part was just him staring at that girl in the
At the
pizza
beginning.
parlor with the bag. And
That's
what's
what
in his
set the
bag?
pace.
So
It's the set. He's
God
setting.
damn, like just
it's
his
almost
stare.
like it's ready.
Dude,
Yeah.
You know
David.
it's coming. Oh God. But
Mark, let's
Mark,
go to
what's
you,
your
Mark.
favorite,
I'm
man?
done.
What's your favorite part?
as a lover of the movie, and I bought the movie, and I absolutely love it. Really brought me back. I actually went out and started buying like all types of 80s horror. It just brought me back into it. I love the kind of sneaky gunshot kill out of nowhere.
Interesting.
Who expected that gun?
I
Interesting.
didn't think it was coming. She kind of had you at the. I'm like, he's not going to go down like this. There's no way.
Right.
And to pull out a gun, and then to come back and finish her off the way he did.
Yeah.
It was
the
just
gun,
like
the gun jams.
the
You give
gun
it a
jam-
look. Give it a bang or two.
kind of pissed off. Get down. Let's get some more bullets. We'll get back out there and
Yeah.
finish this. I loved it. Even though the chain, the hands, the saw kill is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's blow your mind. But there was something about that scene. I was like, man, I didn't think he'd pull a gun out and just kill her like that. But
no, it was to me, it was one of those things where you had to think that the antagonist was in a position where you felt like he was not going to win this one because
Right.
he had already killed so many people.
Right.
And she was the one that kind of was able to finally hit him one time. And, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, is this going to be the moment where she gets the best
there's
of
no
him?
way she gets him.
But there's just a rule of thumb and the fights. You don't ever let somebody get back up when you're holding a piece of wood. Driftwood? Was that from like a piece of driftwood from the Titanic or something?
Something she just found lying around.
Yeah, the only thing you can find.
So I thought that like just in that moment, it was like what Art the Clown stands for. He didn't want to have to do it, but she was talking all that shit that he had to be like, all right, well, I'm going to put you in your place now, you know? So that was an unexpected moment as well.
The scene at the pizza parlor, though, it sets it. It's just him
tone
looking
for it.
over at her. And then the smile
selfies
is just like, yes. Something bad's coming.
Did we talk about the teeth? Did you?
We did. Yeah, he actually had the molds that went over the teeth.
You had to.
As you can see, David, the teeth very much disturbed my friend Nick here.
The whole
David, the whole thing. Yes.
That's why I'm so happy this is happening, because I just needed a human voice to put to what I saw today, and I appreciate this, man. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%, man. Honestly, we really
good,
do.
man.
We appreciate you coming on for our podcast. We've only been going for a couple months here, but we've been getting a pretty decent following, and Mark is huge into horror. And
yes.
I mean, this is great, man. We would love to have you back on. Maybe you said you got something new coming up as well, too. Maybe to talk about that, or even maybe after the sequel comes out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely, especially after the sequel comes out, because there's so much that I want to talk about that I can't talk about yet.
I
can't even so much.
Yeah, we'll absolutely put you on the docket then to bring you back on after the sequel's released, so that way we can watch it and talk to you about that as well too. How does that sound?
Sounds great to me.
Dude.
Now, one more thing is we also, because of the podcast and the room that we have going on here, I've been made fun of because I don't have anything on the wall or anything like that. So we wanted to get maybe like an 8x10 or something like that photo, maybe send it to you. Maybe you could sign it for the podcast so we could put it on the wall up here, since you were really our first interview that we've done.
First celebrity
and
guest
we think
interview.
that it's actually really cool. So we were wondering if you would do that for us so we could represent you and put you up, so whenever we record you, we have a little bit of something to remember you by in the background.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, David.
Not to put you on the
Where are you guys located, by the way?
We're in St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Heart of America.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was trying to I don't think I have any conventions coming out there anytime soon.
Well, there's no conventions anywhere. I work in the convention industry, and they're all shut down for, I don't know.
Hey,
who knows?
let's put it this way.
Comic-Con. You could have been a Comic-Con guest at some point, probably, right?
Let's put it this way. You know what? This is the beginning of a beautiful thing for us. We've been actually getting a lot of views just from doing the Facebook Live thing. We're trying to get our YouTube channel established as well, too. If you are ever in the St. Louis area and you would like to stop in and chat with us, man, my door
in studio.
I was actually in St. Louis with Grinch back in 2011.
Wow. And I believe I was at the Fox Theater.
No, was the Peabody?
Oh, Peabody. You're right. 100% you're right. I believe
my signature's up on the wall over there.
That is cool.
That is neat, man.
Yeah.
City Museum. I love that place.
Oh,
yes.
That was like, oh my God, that was like my childhood dreams come true.
Yeah.
I was like,
really, it is
so cool.
Oh my God,
they just
I've
reopened
never
it
seen
too.
anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Reopened. We're ready to go, baby. We're opening back up.
It's ready to go.
Yeah, the City Museum was cool. There's a lot of stuff downtown. We're probably about 20 minutes or so, not even that, maybe 25 minutes away from downtown St. Louis in the suburb called Oakville. Yeah. But yeah, man, honestly, if you ever come out this way or ever anything, new work coming up too, you said, besides the Terrifier 2, you said you had another project you might be working on. If you'd love to talk to us about that, man, we'd love to have you back on.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Thank you.
Awesome, dude. Well, hey, David, thank you so
much for joining us. It was so good.
Oh, you're welcome.
Amazing movie.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, super humble and down-to-earth guy. We really appreciate everything that you do for us, man.
Nothing but the best.
And I'll message you after the show and get some details of where we can maybe send that picture to for you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
David. You have a good night,
Thanks,
man.
David.
Y'all as well. Take care and be safe out there.
You too, buddy.
You too, buddy.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Right on, man. Very cool.
Unreal.
Very cool.
How cool is that?
So I'm not going to lie to
guy.
you, man. That's a very, very nice guy to do what he did for us.
Absolutely.
It's nice to talk to somebody like that and let us know his experiences with what he had in the business that he's in, because it's so very different from what we do from a day-to-day thing.
So interesting to hear, how he got involved and what's going on and how he got started.
I agree.
It's really neat.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool to take the time to talk to us.
Yeah, definitely. And we still have some folks that are out there that are watching. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, I mean, I know that we were kind of going off there, just trying to focus on our guests that we had.
Yeah.
But let us know if you have any comments there. But it was a fun show, man.
I had a lot of fun. We thought it would be.
Yeah, we knew
and
it was
I mean, he delivered.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a good time.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of his interviews, and like I said, I knew that he was a pretty down-to-earth guy and an easy guy to talk to. So
seems like a lot of fun. And you could put him in the room, and you wouldn't even think anything of it.
Oh, I'll tell you right now. If I was very serious.
We would have
about
had a lot
that.
of fun.
If he wasn't in the room,
if he comes right,
I thought he was.
I mean, you could have
not there.
You could have put him in there,
right? If
know?
he comes through St. Louis, like I said, we'll absolutely going to have him on the show.
No doubt. Have you told everyone to please watch that movie and really get a feel of who we just talked to?
Right. Yeah.
He's not that fun-loving guy that we had on the show. Just watch that movie and see what you think.
Right.
Terrifier. Don't forget that name. It's on Netflix.
Yeah. We have Joe, is it Schneers? I think it is. Says, that's awesome, guys. Very cool. Thank you very much. The whole restaurant scene is what Nick was saying earlier. I think we talked about that, so we didn't have to bring that up. But thank you guys
Deer
so
Creek
much
Pizza
for tuning in. It was a really fun show. I think we're going to sign off on
guys.
that.
Yeah.
We will see you Thursday. I think it's just going to be me and Mark on Thursday.
Happy Monday. I'll be gone. I might be coming remote to you guys on a Thursday for a split second from a
special
secret
location
to be announced later. Maybe Thursday. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll get that information in. But hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, like or follow the page or the group, or we're on Instagram and
Twitter at the Name Shame Pod.
Yes.
Take care of yourselves.
That's it.
Take care of each other. We love you. Love your life.
Peace, love, unity.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.